Welcome to the last of our 3 sample images from my dive on the Olympia Maru in Coron. As you can see, water was a little milky. It was right next to a fish farm, so it gets some pretty funky water sometimes. Now I've already done the Lightroom stuff. You can see from the image above to where we are now, it's already a vast improvement. But when I was looking for an image to tackle with backscatter, I mean, look at this thing. This is looks like a blizzard. It's terrible. But if we zoom in, Control Plus, you can see we still do have some detail here on the masts or on the king posts of the ship. So I've already made a duplicate copy here. Right-click duplicate gave us this, and now we can get started. Now in the other images, we had distinct areas of backscatter that we could remove. In this case, we're looking at an image that is basically down here. It's basically all backscatter. This is probably one of the worst I've ever encountered. Probably why this image did not make it into the book on the shipwrecks. Glad I didn't delete it. That makes a good tutorial. So right now I'm just spot removal tool like we've done on the other things, some of the bigger ones. But as you can tell, though, this is one big chunk of backscatter. Okay. All right. So what to do about this? We are going to need to be pretty aggressive on this one, especially down here. Now we're going to go trial and error on this. I actually don't know the solution, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Adjustments, Hue and Saturation, and I think the first thing we can do is if we make this water darker, okay? So I click the little hand, it gives me this eyedropper. The eyedropper I click, and it tells me what color spectrum I'm working in. So we're in the CN spectrum, and as you can see, we're working with most of the pictures in that spectrum. So what I want to do is I was going to be curious if I can make it darker to kind of try to hide some of that, and I'll make it a little bit bluer. All right. Do I need to increase saturation? Maybe a little bit. Decrease? No. Maybe bump it up a little bit. All right, so we did that. That changes all of the CN colors. Now we made more blue. It accomplishes a similar effect as you can see. So I'll take this off now. If I had gone through Adjustments, Photo Filter, and added a violet layer, you can see it accomplishes basically a very similar effect. Although that may even be better. But anyway, let's go ahead and delete that. And okay, put this one back in. So that's our start. Now we have this area down here. Let's see what this is. This is still showing the CN color. So what we're going to do is go Adjustments, Brightness, Contrast. I want to bring the brightness down. So obviously I had a strobe that was down here and fired and lit all this up. Visibility on this dive was about maybe, oh man, maybe 2 meters. Pretty rough. Okay, but I don't want to do this to the whole picture. Okay, you can see I want to go down here and affect that area, but I want to be careful, especially here. So let's do this. I'm in a mask. You can see it already has a layer mask. I'm going to go to my brush over here. I'm already in black. And I'm going to come down here and I'm going to mask off this area here. Here's the backslash. You can see where I'm working. And it's really important now that I don't get outside the mast. All right, backslash. Okay, so up here you can see it's a little bit too light. I can do a Control Z, undo. So what I can do though is I can change here. I can use kind of a middle gray and do in here. And a little bit darker for up here. Oops, sorry, Control Z. A little bit lighter for up here, a little bit more opaque. All right, so now, here we go. That's better. We want the focus to be up here, not down here. Now I can always come in and crop this out, but the problem is you can see the second mast over here. If I crop up this way, I'm going to be pushing this mast right to the edge of the picture. And I don't want to do that. I want to maintain this distance here and this distance here being pretty similar. So if I were to crop this, I would actually bring up this side, if anything. But I'm not going to. I'm going to go ahead and leave it. All right, now what I'm going to do is a Control-Shift-Alt-E to create this new kind of condensed layer. And I'm going to do a filter, noise. This time I'm going to do dust and scratches, and I'm going to make it with a radius of 6. Okay. Now you can see the image is blurry. Because what I've done is anything that's more than 6 pixels across, it's blurring. So you can see the effect here. What that does is it loses detail, but it also helps get rid of a lot of nasty backscatter. Now, how do I restore the detail? Well, I click here, I add a layer mask. That's white, so everything's showing through, all of that. Now what I do is I want to block that out with black and keep the detail. I use the backslash key, okay? So I'm keeping the detail everywhere that you can see red. The 6 pixel blur is not happening, okay? So now, zoom in. You can see this doesn't change, but watch off in the water. All right. And then what we're going to do is add a new layer, go over to my spot removal tool, and go through, make another pass, and find the spots that survive the blurring process here. And we'll go ahead and just go through and we'll do about 20 of these or so, just to show you how it's going to look. And pardon the hammering there in the background, but we actually had a European hurricane here in the middle of the winter. So they're doing some repairs outside. And let's clean this up. Okay. All right, so now we have cleaned it up even more. Looks pretty good. And now I'm going to check about adding another photo filter to it. Add the adjustments, photo filter. I'm going to check the violet and see how that looks. That looks pretty good. So we'll add maybe an 18% violet. And then I'm going to add another one. And this one is going to be a warming filter, this kind of orangish filter. I'll put it there, and that takes care of it. That helps us, takes the edge off some of the blues. It gives us kind of a little bit of a desaturated look, which I think is pretty cool and goes with the image. You can see if you go way up, it turns all the way orange, but I just want to give a little bit of warmth to this. Okay, so there we are. At this point, we have gone from a terrible image to, that's where we're at now. It's not perfect. There's still more we can do to it, but at least this is now presentable. And you can see the power that just 8 minutes of Photoshop does on an image that would otherwise be unpresentable, I guess you could say, especially when you look at the original image above that we started with. So this one was quite a challenge. There is more we could do to it. We will save those techniques, though, for another time, and hopefully this one gave you some ideas, and you get excited to try this out on your own. Again, you can't make mistakes. You can always hit undo or don't save it. All right, thanks for watching.